Welcome to Loop TV. I'm your host, Gene Munster, joined by our independent Tesla analyst, Matt Joyce. And the topic today is the Core Efficiency Index. This is an index that Matt created a couple of years ago that allows us to cut through the noise in comparing EVs. When you look at the landscape of all the different EVs available, there are different class sizes. There's sedans, SUVs, there's compact, there are different ranges, there are different prices. It is quite confusing. So thank you, Matt, for helping us. It's something that I've followed religiously as you've been updating this over the last couple of years. Whenever there's a new change to a price or a range, you're quick to update on this just to give us some framework about how to think about the value, the competitive landscape in EVs. And so that's the core efficiency index in a nutshell. And that is the end of our over-the-counter medication, because we're going to switch to prescription strength meds and bring in Matt. And Matt, one piece as we were discussing this that he thought was really important is to best understand what a skateboard is. I'm going to bring up an image of a skateboard. We're not talking about my brother Jim's skateboard from the 80s. This is very different. Tell us what we're looking at and why it matters to the core efficiency index.
Yeah, so this is the powertrain of the electric vehicle. So you got the wheels, the battery pack is that entire base in between the wheels. You've got electric motors between the rear and front wheels.
I see them.
Inverters. So yeah, that's really what electric vehicle efficiency comes down to, is that skateboard.
So is this the substance of what an EV essentially is the skateboard?
Yes, as far as efficiency, and this really boils down to the end value proposition. The better your skateboard technology, the better your cost, which leads to the best prices and value proposition.
Got it. So you get an advantage in skateboard. That's a big deal. That's what we're trying to measure here with the core efficiency index. New phrase for me, skateboard. I've been following Tesla closely for many years, and I'm embarrassed that I've always referred to as the battery and the drivetrain. And this, I'm glad you're setting me straight here. We're gonna pause there and switch to the actual index here. So I'm gonna make a change. I'm gonna stop sharing and then start sharing again with your work. And a lot of numbers on here, a lot of colors. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so it's really difficult to compare electric vehicles from different automakers. There are different class size vehicles, different weights. And as you can see, the bigger and heavier a vehicle is, the less range it gets. So look at the Model X there.
Okay, wait, we're Model X at the top?
Yeah, both at the top. So they both have a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, but since the Model X is bigger and heavier, it gets less range.
Gotcha.
So
okay, so
whenever
looking this through 100 kilowatt
vehicles,
100 kilowatt battery pack, 5,400 pounds, 371 miles. You lower in the I guess with the Model S, slightly different vehicle, but you lower the weight, the range goes up. Seems pretty straightforward.
Exactly. So before this core efficiency formula, it was really difficult to compare different vehicles and that powertrain technology, that skateboard technology, because they're different sizes and weights. So the goal of this formula is to isolate for that weight variance and be able to compare electric vehicles of different sizes and different weights.
Got it. That makes a ton of sense. And as we look at this, look at the numbers, can you give us some comparables about to compare a couple of vehicles? Maybe pick a Tesla and then pick someone else too.
Yeah, so the best example I would say is comparing that Tesla Model 3 LR, which means long range.
So that's the fourth one down. Looking at the scale here, it'd be the fourth or long range, the fourth one down there, 46,990. That's the price. Okay, so we got that, and then we're gonna compare that to
the Volvo Polestar 2. So they're both mid-sized sedans. And as you can see, the Volvo has a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack, slightly larger than the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack of the Tesla Model 3 long range. Yet the Model 3 long range goes 353 miles versus the Polestar 2 only gets an EPA range of 233 miles.
It's a lot heavier
So
too,
it,
4,700 pounds versus 3,500
yep, quite a bit heavier,
or
but they are
4,000.
both mid-sized sedans, and that weight gap does not explain a 120-mile difference in range.
It does or does not explain.
Does not explain. It's
Okay.
just that the Model 3 skateboard is more efficient, so they can put less batteries in order to achieve the same range.
So less batteries in means less cost to Tesla. Is that the right way to think about it?
Exactly. So the formula basically says how many kilowatt hours does the vehicle use per 100 miles of range and 1,000 pounds of weight. So the lower the kilowatt hour usage, the better core efficiency. And as you can see here, Tesla has an edge in core efficiency over legacy automakers and newcomers. Given the same vehicle weight, Tesla can put less batteries in their vehicles to achieve the same range. Or if they have the same size battery pack, they can achieve a much higher range.
Okay.
And that
So
leads to a better value proposition.
better value. So from let's bring it back to maybe a Tesla investor's perspective. They should care about this because whether it's Tesla or down the road some other automaker, if they have a good core efficiency, if they're in that green spectrum, if they're there, it means that they have a, a strong value proposition for the consumer. Is that the right way to think about it?
Yes. How you break it down is if you're a newcomer trying to challenge and you need to put in more batteries to achieve the same range, those extra batteries add weight. That extra weight means you need to add more batteries to offset that additional weight and achieve that same range. On top of that, Tesla also has the lowest cost per battery cell, module, and pack. So that ends up being a triple cost hit for challengers, which results in a worse value proposition: higher cost, higher price.
Okay. So when
capable car, right?
yeah, this is that what you just described seems like a downward spiral. Maybe that's too strong. I've been a believer that traditional auto is in a more difficult place than would meet the eye. It would seem like your core efficiency, at least the most recent one, would support that. And super helpful. And anything else that you want to leave with our viewers on takeaways in the core efficiency?
Yeah, so the skateboard is obviously very important. And this is where I think from that Tesla investor perspective, it's all about electric vehicle adoption and how do you drive the cost down for the value proposition against internal combustion engine vehicles? When do you hit parity with those costs? Because that's where the inflection point is going to be. So pretty soon that core efficiency.
And by the way, when that parity happens, is that going to be when you can get a great EV for $32,000? Is that how it would kind of present itself in the marketplace?
Yeah, the average cost of a new vehicle is currently $35,000. The average price point of a Tesla is, high 40s, maybe 50,000 right now.
Okay.
So they need their average to get down to that 35,000, and then that volume will go exponential, and they'll hit, potentially 20 million vehicles by the end of the decade.
Okay, we're gonna pause there on the core efficiency index. I'm gonna go bonus round, ask you one question. Sure. One or two sentences, what do we need to know about Model 2?
Yeah, so the goal is to achieve a starting price point of $25,000. So
$25,000.
The Model 3 is correct. So the Model 3 is a mid-size sedan. You can order that off the website, so off menu, for $35,000 currently. It's software restricted on a lot of features. So the Model 2 would be a small size sedan or a compact sedan. And in theory, it could be $10,000 less starting price. So like I just said, the average vehicle sold is $35,000. If they can get that entrance price with the Model 2, $25,000, that volume is going to be really, really strong.
Final question. And I want a simple answer with a date, a prediction on a date.
Okay.
When will Model 2 end up on your core efficiency index?
I will estimate 3 years from now.
3 years. Don't hold your breath. It's coming. I think
Yeah.
like all good things in tech, they take longer, but are more impactful. I suspect Model 2 will be just that. And I also know that we're going to be having further great conversations with Matt. Thanks for joining. On behalf of Matt and Gene and Matt's Core Efficiency Index, this is Loop TV, and bye for now.